when it comes to the pronunciation, again, in the interest of time, with regard to vowels, pronounce them as in Spanish. That's close enough. Technically, there are long and short vowels in Nahuatl. Long means that you hold it for a longer time. As I said earlier, ah is long ah. Short is just plain ah. I'm not going to focus on that. In addition, certain vowels, there are certain intermediate vowels, so that the O and the U are very often pronounced in the same manner. The word for rubber, for example, in Spanish, if you know that, ule comes from the Nahuatl word uli, which is sometimes uttered as oli. Oli, uli. There are sometimes intermediate vowels. I'm not going to bother with those either. So pronounce vowel sounds as in Spanish. A, E, I, O, U, and that's close enough. Now, the first area of difficulty that I come across the first time students of Nahuatl is the matter of the stress. That's the accent, the oral accent. And this always falls where? On the second from the last syllable. So if you take the word apart into syllables, this is the last syllable, the stress goes here. And this is pronounced in Nahuatl as, everyone, Aztlan, Aztlan, not Aztlan. Aztlan is the equivalent of saying Herrera. I'm not Herrera, it's Herrera. Or saying Lopez. It's not Lopez, it's López. Mecha, Movimiento Estudiantil Chicano de Aztlan. Aztlan is supposed to not only refer to the Southwest as homeland, but also to stress the indigenous ancestry. Well, if we're going to take the time and make the effort to stress indigenous ancestry, we might as well pronounce the name the way it's supposed to be pronounced, right? Aztlan, not Aztlan. Most, of course, publications have Aztlan on the national. That is the Hispanicized pronunciation. Aztlan is the Nahuatl one, right? I want to join my campaign about all the mechistas. And it's pronounced Aztlan, 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 Aztlan. All right. Last syllable, second from last. This is, everyone, Mazatlan. Mazatlan. Mazatlan is the Hispanicized pronunciation. All right. Now, just as a point of information for you, any words that end in C, CO, TLAN, TAN, CAN are place names. These are places, land of whatever this is, land of whatever this is. Land of pigs, land of deer, and so forth. How many of you have been to Mexico City? You've been to the park called Chapultepec? That's the Hispanicized pronunciation. The actual Nahuatl pronunciation, last syllable, second from last, right? Chapultepec. Chapultepec. Everyone, Chapultepec?
Chapultepec.
That's it. Now, there's only one exception to the stress. When you are addressing someone, you would normally add a stressed E. So that if you are addressing your mother, Nonansin, Nonansine, Nonansine. By the way, let me point out something that's very important. This is a diminutive. This means mother. And this means my. I mentioned earlier that study of the Nahuatl language enables us to understand even that most Spanish ingredient in our contemporary culture, the language. Well, you would never address mother as simply mama or mother. You always have to say what? Me. Me. In Nahuatl, unlike what we find in English and Spanish, nouns are either relational or non-relational. Non-relational means that they stand on their own. They're not connected inherently. They're not possessed. Marker, there it is, right? On its own. Finger. Finger is relational. Why? It's mine. If it's not mine, it's his or yours. Those relational nouns now are always accompanied by a possessive. You don't say finger by itself. That doesn't mean you won't find it in dictionaries. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about actual usage. They're always possessed. What about parent, mother, father? You're a mother or father because you're someone's mother or father, right? Always with a possessive. And guess what? You either attach a very specific possessive, my, your, his, her, our, their, and if you cannot identify the specific possessor, then you attach a non-specific possessive, someone's, de alguien, but never ever by itself. And that accounts for the way in which we speak Spanish. If you and I are brothers, right? We're out playing in the backyard, our other brother comes over here and says, "Te habla mi mamá." Te habla mi mamá. Translate that into English. My mother's calling you. What does that imply in English? My mother is calling you. We're three brothers. He has a different mother, right? But not to us. This is a possessed noun. Likewise, how do we address children? Mijo, what's your name? Mijo. Mijo is what? My son. To the point that we as bilinguals sometimes say, my poor mijo, right? My poor mijo. My is a possessive, and you already have a possessive there. That doesn't make any sense if you examine the construction from the viewpoint of pure Spanish, that is Spanish as a Latin language. It makes all the sense in the world if you examine it as language usage influenced by what? By náhuatl. Anyway, I couldn't let that slip by. No one seen that. Anyway, that's the only exception. Itzcoatl emails me. When I email you back, I say what? Itzcoatle. Itzcoatle. That's the only exception. All right, so we're clear in the pronunciation. All right, I'll give that part stress. Another part of the pronunciation which is very important is final TL. Final TL is pronounced as a T, just as a T. There's one variety of náhuatl, which is called náhuatl, where that L is simply suppressed. The one that we're looking at does pronounce the L. The T and the L is pronounced at the sides of the tongue. Okay? So, the word for water is, I want you to say it after me, at. At. Very good, that's it. The word for bean, kibog, everyone, et. Et. By the way, again, to understand that most Spanish ingredient in our culture today, the language, et doesn't really occur as et. Generally, it's etzintli, etzin, which is frijolitos. Is that just frijoles? No. Frijoles are what? Stale or not very good. Etzintli is frijolitos. What does that say? What is frijolitos, literally? Small beans, little beans. Is that what it really implies?
No.
No. But if you examine it strictly from the viewpoint of Spanish as Spanish, it may not make too much sense. Examine it from the viewpoint as usage influenced by the indigenous language, it makes all the sense in the world.